All right, let's get into it. We're just a few short weeks away from the NBA tipping off, and you can feel that electricity building. The preseason chatter is turning into real momentum. Every team is starting to shape up, rosters are taking form, and yes, trade rumors are heating up like we're already at the deadline. Boston fans, hoop heads, NBA addicts, buckle up because the Celtics are right in the thick of it all. Let's start with a storyline that's starting to catch some serious fire: Walker Kessler. Now, if you've been following the Utah Jazz closely, or really, if you've paid any attention to how Danny Ainge operates, then you know nothing is ever really off the table. And according to recent reports, Utah is not planning to extend Kessler before next summer. That's a big deal. That means he's about to become a restricted free agent, and that opens the door to a bunch of scenarios: extensions, trades, qualifying offers, or potentially just letting him test the waters. So now the conversation has shifted from, is Kessler part of Utah's future, to what's his trade value? And if you're Danny Ainge, the answer to that is apparently a lot. Because word on the street is that the Jazz actually engaged with the Lakers in trade talks. And Danny's asking price? Austin Reeves plus multiple first-round picks. Yeah, not one pick, not just a role player, but Reeves and picks. That's steep. Like, very steep. Now, on one hand, it sort of makes sense. Reeves is due for a new contract soon. He's going to get paid. So the Jazz would have to be ready to pay both him and Kessler if they were really going to make that deal work long-term. But here's the thing. Walker Kessler, for all his upside, is still largely unproven in a winning environment. We've seen flashes, we've seen the tools, but let's be honest. Utah hasn't exactly been trying to win. The team was in full asset collection mode, playing developmental lineups and straight-up punting games. Kessler wasn't in a situation where he could thrive under pressure or consistently show what he could do when the games mattered. He did get decent minutes, over 30 per game last season, and he put up solid numbers. We're talking about a guy averaging a near double-double with a couple of blocks per game. He's a rim protector, he's a lob threat, and he plays hard. That's the kind of profile that has value, especially if you're a team like Boston that needs reliable depth in the frontcourt. But still, Austin Reeves and picks? That's a huge price for a guy still on a rookie deal and yet to prove he can anchor a playoff defense. But let's not forget who we're talking about here: Danny Ainge. This is the same guy who built the modern Celtics with a mix of patience and robbery. If he thinks he can extract that kind of return, he's going to ask for it. It's classic Danny. Aim high, negotiate down. He knows the game. Now, here's where it gets interesting for Celtics fans. Would Kessler make sense in Boston? Honestly, yeah. Stylistically, he fits. He's not a volume scorer. He's not a floor spacer, but he's exactly the kind of big who can do the dirty work, set hard screens, roll to the rim, protect the paint, and rebound like a maniac. That's the kind of skill set that doesn't show up in highlight reels, but absolutely wins you playoff games. The real challenge isn't whether he'd fit. It's whether Boston wants to get in that bidding war now or wait until the summer when he hits the market. The trade market could change dramatically as we get closer to the deadline. If Utah feels like they're going to lose him, or if Kessler starts the season hot, say he puts up something like 16 and 14 with 2 blocks a night, that price is only going up. But the opposite could happen too. He could get banged up, lose minutes to other guys on a roster, and suddenly Utah's leverage is gone. And Utah's front court is crowded. Lauri Markkanen is still there. They just signed him Obamba. They've got the rookie, Kyle Filipowski. That's 3 guys who will be fighting for front court minutes. If Kessler isn't going to be the focal point, it may make more sense for them to move him now than to wait and risk his value plummeting. That brings us to the big picture. Is it worth the risk for Boston to pounce now? Or do they sit back and wait? Because if we're being honest, they might already have a sleeper option on the roster. Neemias Queta, remember the name. This guy could be a factor. There's been buzz around his development. And if he takes that leap, the Celtics may not need to look anywhere else. Maybe he goes out there and dominates, makes the starting job his, and all these trade hypotheticals just fade away. We've seen it happen before. A guy gets a shot, finds his confidence, and suddenly your depth chart looks a lot more solid. But the reality is, until the games start, it's all speculation. Kessler could be the steal of the trade deadline or the overvalued product of a rebuilding team trying to play hardball. Either way, the Celtics are in a position where making a move for a big like Kessler could make a lot of sense, but only if the price is right. Meanwhile, while we're talking about players being undervalued, let's switch gears and talk about the absolute slander Jaylen Brown's been getting online. It's wild. I don't know if people just need a new punching bag or what, but the internet is losing its mind. There was this tier list going around ranking starting small forwards, and somehow Jaylen Brown being listed in the S tier sparked a whole debate. People acting like they've never watched him play, saying he's a negative defender, inefficient scorer, overpaid. Like, what are we doing? Yes, Jaylen didn't have his most efficient season last year, but let's not act like he's a liability out there. The dude still averaged over 22 points per game, 5 rebounds, nearly 5 assists, and over a steal per game. He played 34 minutes a night, shot 46% from the field. Yes, the three-point shooting dipped a bit, down to 32%, but he was still an all-star. And let's not forget, this man was Eastern Conference Finals MVP just a year ago. He's been averaging over 20 points per game for 6 straight seasons. That's not a fluke. That's consistency. And when you look at who's being ranked ahead of him or in the same tier, it just doesn't add up. You're telling me OG Anunoby is better than Jaylen Brown? I like OG. Great defender, valuable piece, but offensively, he's inconsistent at best. He's never averaged over 20 points per game. Never been an all-star. He's made one all-defensive team. Meanwhile, Jaylen's out here leading a contending team deep into the playoffs every year. Then you've got Franz Wagner, again, promising young talent. He had a great run before getting hurt. But let's pump the brakes. He just cracked 20 points per game for the first time in his career. You want to project Franz being better in a few years? Fine. But right now, it's not even close. Don't even get me started on the guys further down the list. Amen Thompson, Cooper Flagg, Stephon Castle. We're projecting guys who haven't even played a full NBA season yet. That's where we are now. Ranking raw prospects over a proven all-star? It's like people saw one video of Jaylen doing a power dribble drill and decided he can't go left. Come on, man. That drill was literally designed to exaggerate left-hand movement. It's not how people actually dribble in games. That clip has been taken so far out of context. It's ridiculous. And yeah, you want to talk about his contract? We've been through this. Every second star in the league is overpaid if you look at it in a vacuum. But that's the price of doing business in the NBA. If you don't pay your stars, someone else will. And if you're worried about the owner's pockets instead of what Jaylen brings to this team every night, you've got your priorities all wrong. And while we're on the topic of ownership and the team's direction, let's talk about that press conference. Brad Stevens, WYC Grousbeck, and the new guy, Bill Chisholm, came out together to show a united front. The message? Stability, alignment, and long-term vision. Now, do we really learn anything groundbreaking? Not exactly. It was more of a let's shake hand for the cameras and say we're all on the same page type of vibe. But even in those moments, there are clues, especially when it comes to money. WYC made it clear that regardless of a potential sale, cost-cutting moves were going to happen. He talked about getting under the second apron now to avoid getting wrecked by the repeater tax down the road. For those who don't follow all the CBA intricacies, here's the deal. If you're over that second apron for multiple years in a row, the penalties start stacking. You lose flexibility in trades, draft picks, signing players. Everything gets harder. So the Celtics trimming payroll now isn't just about saving cash today. It's about setting themselves up to be able to move freely in future seasons. That's where deals like the rumored 3-team trade involving Malik Monk, Anthony Simons, Buddy Hield, and Jonathan Kuminga come into play. It's not just about basketball fits, it's about financial structure. And if the Celtics could get Malik Monk and Isaac Jones while dumping enough salary to save $27 million and duck under the apron, that's huge. That's flexibility. That's strategic front office work. But let's focus on Monk for a second, because there's a little confusion out there about what kind of player he actually is. Monk is not a wing in the same sense as Jaylen Brown. He's not going to be taking on that kind of role. He's a combo guard. Think sixth man energy. Think high-volume scorer off the bench. Think about what he did with the Kings a couple years ago when they finally made the playoffs. He was electric. Instant offense. Dynamic. He can create off the bounce, hit tough shots, and bring life into the second unit. If he lands in Boston, he wouldn't be a redundancy with Jalen. He'd be complementing the starting five, not replacing them. Sure, he may overlap a bit with Peyton Pritchard in terms of size and role, but let's be honest. You need multiple creators off the bench. Depth wins in this league. Injuries happen. Matchups change. The more firepower you have that can come in and swing a game in your favor, the better. Monk is that kind of player. But again, none of this happens unless the money works. That's why the trade exception matters. That's why the apron matters. It's all connected. And for Boston, this offseason has been about threading the needle between staying competitive and staying flexible. You're trying to win now without completely mortgaging the future. That's not easy. That's what Brad Stevens has been juggling since taking over. Now, back to Jaylen Brown for a moment, because some of the slander online is just embarrassing. You've got people acting like he's a borderline starter, like he's not a guy who's led this team deep into the playoffs multiple times. This is a player who's gone toe-to-toe with the best in the league. He's taken the big shots. He's guarded the top scorers. He's been asked to do everything and more for a team that's consistently been at the top of the East. And people want to act like he's somehow in the same tier as guys who've never made an all-star team or who've played one good season and disappeared. That's not just disrespectful, it's lazy. Jalen isn't perfect, and yeah, he's had off nights. Who hasn't? But the idea that he's not a top-tier small forward is ridiculous. If you're putting together a team to win right now, not some fantasy lineup for 3 years from now, Jaylen Brown is absolutely one of the first 10 wings you should be thinking about. Probably top 5, depending on your system. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that has sent shockwaves throughout the NBA, the Boston Celtics reportedly made a stunning announcement that has fans and analysts alike buzzing. Kawhi Leonard is now allegedly a Celtic. The news, still swirling in rumor territory, has ignited a flurry of speculation about the team's future and its championship aspirations. Leonard, a two-time NBA Finals MVP and one of the league's most feared two-way players, has long been the subject of trade speculation, but few anticipated a move to Boston of all places. According to sources close to the situation, the Celtics are exploring every possible angle to maximize their championship window, and Leonard fits perfectly into a roster that has been hungry for a superstar presence alongside its core talents. The potential pairing of Leonard with Boston's current stars has fans imagining a defensive juggernaut capable of altering the dynamics of the Eastern Conference. With Leonard's ability to dominate both ends of the floor, the Celtics could instantly vault into the conversation as serious title contenders. Insiders hint that negotiations have been intense, with multiple teams reportedly vying for Leonard's signature or trade involvement, but Boston appears to have edged out competitors in recent days. While no official confirmation has been made by either the Celtics or Leonard himself, the rumor mill is already working overtime. Social media has exploded with reactions ranging from sheer disbelief to cautious optimism, with diehard Celtics supporters expressing hope that this could be the missing piece to end the team's long championship drought. Critics, however, caution that integrating a player of Leonard's caliber into Boston's system will be no small feat. Questions about chemistry, salary cap implications, and long-term durability loom large. Leonard's history of injuries and careful load management adds layers of complexity to any potential arrangement. Yet, the mere suggestion of such a union has rejuvenated excitement around the franchise and energized a fan base that has long been eager for a marquee addition. As the rumor continues to swirl, one thing is certain. The NBA landscape could be on the brink of a seismic shift. Should Leonard truly find his way to Boston, the Celtics would not just be chasing titles. They could be redefining the power structure of the league altogether. For now, the basketball world waits, captivated by the tantalizing prospect of Kawhi Leonard donning green and white, and wondering if the rumor will soon become reality. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.